The first regret, habit nerds, is I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not what others expected of me. Now, this one hits really hard, doesn't it? It's so easy to get caught in chasing approval or ticking boxes that don't actually belong to us. It is so easy to choose harmony over truth. When I think about this regret, I'm reminded of really big things. Hi there, and a warm welcome to the Habit Nerd podcast. I'm Dr. Bree Hearn, host and general nerd about all things habits. Over my 20 plus years working as a writer, educator, researcher, keynote speaker, and coach, I've realized that habits influence everything from our health to our productivity and even our relationships. It was Aristotle, in fact, who said we become what we repeatedly do. On this podcast, you'll learn from inspiring experts as they share the habits and systems that help them live happily, healthily, and to achieve enormous success in their chosen fields. Thanks for being here. I do hope that you enjoy the episode. Hi there, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Habit Nerd podcast. I'm Bree, and I'm delighted that you've decided to spend some time with me today. Today, we're talking about something that's really close to the heart, and that is how to live a life that feels aligned and meaningful so that when we look back, we don't carry those heavy what ifs. I like to think of this idea around Tony Robbins' analogy of the rocking chair. He talks about being in your mid-80s or your 90s, sitting in a rocking chair. I picture myself in a sun-drenched room in my house, or maybe in a nursing home where somebody's caring for me, and I'm in my rocking chair. And I look back and I think of decisions that I made. And I want those thoughts, when I'm reflecting back, when I'm looking in that rearview mirror across my life, to be ones that felt aligned to my values, that I feel okay about having made them, that they were decisions that give me a sense of peace and fulfillment, not regret. Now, this idea, Habit Nerds, comes from a really famous book that you may have heard of. I've recently read it. It really rattled me. It's called The 5 Regrets of the Dying, and it was written by Bronnie Ware. Now, Bronnie is an Australian nurse, and she spent years caring for people in their final days. She kept hearing the same 5 regrets again and again, so she decided to pen it into this book that, as I say, is and has had a really huge impact. Bronnie says that when you hear the same lessons repeated at the end of somebody's life, you know that they must matter. So here's the question, given that this is the Habit Nerd podcast, how do we take those lessons of the 5 regrets of the dying and turn them into daily habits now so that we can live a life that's more aligned to our value set? So let's dig in. The first regret, Habit Nerds, is I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not what others expected of me. Now, this one hits really hard, doesn't it? It's so easy to get caught in chasing approval or ticking boxes that don't actually belong to us. It is so easy to choose harmony over truth. When I think about this regret, I'm reminded of really big things, like people I know who went to uni and studied a course because their parents wanted them to. Or maybe a person went into a family business because they felt that was the expectation on them from their family, and it wasn't actually what they wanted to do, so they would have a regret around that. Some other big regrets might be somebody who denied their own sexuality, or they denied choosing a career path that they knew that they would be really great at, but they chose to keep the peace for other people. Maybe somebody chose a career because of financial stability at the expense of their own happiness, their own truth. So if you think about that regret, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life that was true to myself and not what others expected of me. We can think about it in those really broad terms like employment or like relationships, but we can also think about how our daily habits might be driving us towards a life that we want and not what someone else might expect of us. A simple habit I love that you might find helpful is a morning check-in. Before the day sweeps me away, I try and ask myself, what's one small choice that I might make today that reflects my values? Just one. So one small choice, if I would be concerned that I'm on my deathbed or I'm in my rocking chair, as I said, in the nursing home, and I regret that I didn't spend enough quality connection time with my daughters while they were young, it would really encourage me to put my phone away and spend some time with them, or to not have the radio on while we're driving to school and actually engage in some connection. It doesn't have to be deep. It doesn't have to be meaningful, but just talking, because that would be really close to one of my values of being a connected and present mum for them. And I would be able to then look back at the end of my life and not have a regret about that. Maybe once a week on a Sunday night, say, you could take a few minutes to review. Where did I live aligned with who I really am? And where did I slip into the shoulds? It doesn't take long, but if you build this muscle of choosing your own life instead of defaulting to someone else's script, you will be getting closer to avoiding that very popular regret of having the courage to live a life true to yourself and not what others expect of you. The second regret is, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Now, this one is complex because it isn't work itself that's the problem. It's when it swallows everything else. When it swallows the people we love, the moments of joy, the chance to just be, to just breathe. So think about, if you get to the end of your life and think, I wish I hadn't worked so hard, why would that be a regret? What would it be that if you chose work over other things that you think you would have missed out on? Here's a habit you might try. Set a stop time, a hard stop time, and literally write it down. This is when my workday ends. So say your workday ends at 6 p.m, write down my workday ends at 6 p.m. Then you could create a little ritual to mark that close down. Maybe it's closing your laptop and going out for a walk. Maybe it's putting on some music, something that tells your brain, I'm done for today. A ritual I know I have is I will physically change how I look and feel from my workday to my evening. So I will get in the shower, I will wash my makeup off, and I will put my hair up, and I will put on something comfortable. And for me, that signals to my brain, this is when my workday ends. Because I think about it, when I'm on my rocking chair, I don't want to regret that my work bled into my whole evening, and that I wasn't present with my family, and that I wasn't able to be with my friends, and that I didn't read books for pleasure, and that I didn't exercise and do all of the things that make me happy, make me feel like the most Brie version of Brie because of work. And another thing you could do is sprinkle in what you might call glimmers or micro joys. These are little moments of delight. So throughout your workday, you could enjoy things like having a coffee outside in the sunshine, maybe breaking up the day with just a quick silly dance in the kitchen to a favorite song. Maybe it's reading a few pages before bed. Because these aren't extras, they are the life that you will remember. And I say this all the time because I love work. I am passionate about the work that I do. It really lights me up, and it is a big part of my core identity. But I never want to get to the end of my life and think I worked too hard at the expense of everything else that matters. The third regret was, I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. Now, this one, again, hits hard. There is another body of work you might recognize that is called truth versus harmony. You think about how many times in your relationships with colleagues, with family, with extended family, with friends, where you choose harmony over your truth. I wonder also if you have ever had the very unfortunate experience of losing somebody or losing touch with somebody and them not knowing how it is that you felt about them? There is a huge sense of regret when you didn't say the things that you wanted to say. So this regret is about all the unsaid thank yous, the unspoken I love yous, or even the bottled up frustrations that keep us distant. Maybe you could try something like this once a day, or if once a day doesn't feel comfortable for you in the beginning, try once a week. Send a gratitude text. Just choose one person and a very general, hey, I appreciate you. And that's it. Maybe another habit you could try so that you have the courage to express your feelings is that when emotions do bubble up, pause, try and give a name, a label to what it is you're feeling, and decide the healthiest way to let it out. You might need to feel it to heal it, because this habit not only clears the air, it builds stronger connections. There are certain people of different generations who are uncomfortable saying things like, I love you, or I appreciate you, or I'm really grateful for the things that you've done for me, or the way you gave me that opportunity last week really has moved the needle for me, or I'm so thankful for what you do in my life, or I love the way you help me with this. But it is a muscle like anything else, and I never want to get to the end of my life or the end of the life of people that I love and them not understand how I felt about them. In the same way as if you are holding back saying something that is truthful and that is eating you up and that is impacting your relationship with that person in a negative way or in an unproductive way, have a think about, is there a way that you can frame a conversation with that person so that you do express your feelings, and that will hopefully lead to an enhanced, more productive relationship with that person. So just to recap, the third regret is I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. The fourth regret is about friendships, and it's this: I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. Now, life gets really busy, people drift, but at the end, once you're on your deathbed, once you're in your rocking chair, it's the connections that matter the most. I think most of us who are busy with work and family commitments would say that we could invest a little bit more time into our friendships. And that when you make a connection with someone, the oldest friends are the best friends. And so it is so lovely to be able to keep in touch, even in small ways, because those relationships give so much to our lives. And if you understand that people who are on their deathbed are saying, I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends, and you feel like you're not staying in touch with your friends, what small habits could you put in place so that you could turn that around? A really simple habit might be something like Friendship Friday. Each Friday, you reach out to one friend. It doesn't have to be big. It can be a call, a text, a voice note, send them a meme, just something. Or maybe you could stack it onto what you already do. Call a friend while you're walking the dog or while you're driving home. Over time, those tiny touches weave a net of connection that keeps you close. And habit nerds, the final regret is, I wish I'd let myself be happier. So many of us postpone joy. We say things to ourselves like, I'll be happy when I get that job, when I get that house, when I achieve that holiday. But happiness is often a choice that we can make now. So here's a habit so that you don't get to the end of your life and think, I really wish I'd made myself happier or let myself be happier. Once a day, pause to savor something and really notice it. It might be the taste of your food. It might be the sound of laughter. It might be the smell of jasmine in the air. It could be the feel of fresh air as you walk out in the morning. I would recommend just 15 to 30 seconds of presence. And maybe add play into your week. Play is something that is not just the work of children. Something silly or fun that makes you feel alive again really will inject moments of happiness into your day or into your week. Because joy isn't childish, it's actually medicine. So to bring it all together, Habit Nerds, on this very short but I hope impactful episode, I will give you a quick wrap up. Live true to yourself. Protect time for what matters aside from work. Say the things that you need to say. Keep your friendships alive. And allow happiness right now, not later. These aren't grand changes. They're really small habits. They're daily choices that will add up to a life that you will be proud of. Imagine your future self looking back saying, I lived without regret. And that is a gift that you can start giving yourself today. So Habit Nerds, thank you for being here with me today. If this episode spoke to you, maybe share it with a friend. And maybe that could even be your first Friendship Friday reach out. I'd love to hear what you think of the episode. As always, I'd love to hear from my Habit Nerd listeners via Instagram. Until next time, keep choosing the habits that create the life that you really want. Thank you for tuning into this episode of The Habit Nerd. I hope you found some new inspiration, learned something new, or gained a fresh perspective. If you did enjoy the episode, I would be really grateful if you could please leave a 5-star review, as it helps the show get in the ears of new listeners, plus it should only take you 5 seconds. If you're keen for more tips and insights, then head over to Instagram and follow Habit Nerd.